Chapter 10. Kenny was sitting in the living room where Alicia could see him as she moved around their apartment. She had gathered up enough clothes for a week and thrown them in the washing machine. Then she got Kenny's backpack and took out all his school items and put in some things for him to do. It was hard to decide what to pack. She wasn't even sure where they were going. They had next to no money and she had no friends. She could go to her parents' house. They hadn't technically disowned her when she had decided to keep Kenny, but they did make it clear that they had no desire ever to meet their grandchild. What would happen if she showed up on their doorstep now? Alicia looked at her son, quietly sitting on the couch watching TV. Maybe she was overreacting. Could she take the chance if she was not? All she wanted to do was help her son, and now the man in the green suit was sending people after them. Going back to the club had been a mistake, one she did not know how to fix. She grabbed the rest of Kenny's toys, including his cars that he swore he was too old for, even though he played with them constantly, and a few of his favorite books. While she waited for the wash, she checked her bank account and gathered up the emergency cash she had been saving away. She even checked the couch for loose change, but unfortunately they didn't have much. When the bags were packed, she put them by the front door and went to the TV. The TV set was small, bulky, and only got local channels. They rarely turned it on, so when she leaned over and turned it off, her son looked at her in horror. "It wasn't finished. You told me I could watch the show." Alicia put her hand to her head and closed her eyes briefly. Then she walked over and sat down next to her son. "I know, but we need to talk for a few minutes." "Is this about my dad?" "This is about the man who came to your school." "You told me you don't know who my dad was." Kenny looked straight at her as he spoke. "I still don't know." Alicia reached to put her hand on his shoulder, but he moved away from her. "But the man knew. He said that he could tell me. He said that he is like me and that I could meet him." Alicia saw the tears falling out of his eyes and wanted to do something to make them go away. "Kenny," she waited while he composed himself. "Sometimes there are bad men in the world. They want to hurt us, and they will tell us the things that we want to hear most in the world to try and trick us." "Was my dad a bad man?" Alicia sighed, unsure of how to best proceed. "I do not know if your dad is a bad man, but I know that he did bad things. He did things to hurt people, and more than anything, I want to protect you." "Okay," Kenny said. He moved closer to her and allowed her to wrap him in her arms. "We need to go away for a while. We are going to have a little adventure. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?" "I would go to the Grand Canyon." Kenny spoke into her shoulder. Alicia couldn't help but smile slightly. "Why would you pick the Grand Canyon?" "Because it is so big that it has a river running right through it, and in the pictures it is red. Red's my favorite color." Kenny pulled away as he spoke and used his arms to animate his words. "All excellent reasons. Okay, we will go to the Grand Canyon." Alicia figured Arizona was as good as any place. Also, it was far from where they were now. "Okay, Kenny Bean, go grab your jacket and let's start our adventure." "No, we can't go yet." Kenny spoke matter-of-factly. There was no anger or even defiance in his voice. "We need to go now. Let's see how far we can drive before it gets dark." "It is not time yet, Mom. He hasn't come." Who hasn't come? Alicia felt chilled by her son's words. "I'm not sure. It doesn't tell me things that clearly." Who is telling you that they are coming? "No, Mommy." Kenny laughed at her like she had gotten something so wrong that it was silly. "It isn't a who. It's the ground, but it doesn't talk like people. It just sometimes knows things, and only things that affect it. Like if an earthquake is supposed to happen." Alicia sat on the couch and faced her son at eye level. She tried to recall what she knew about delusions and hallucinations, and realized that she did not know anything. All Alicia knew right now was that her son was making no sense. That, and she was scared. People were out to kidnap him, and now he said that the earth was speaking to him. Maybe the school was right to be worried. "How long has the earth spoken to you?" Kenny shrugged. "I don't know, but it has gotten louder lately. Mostly it just wants things to grow, but sometimes it can tell me that something will happen, like the man coming to help us." Kenny turned and faced the door just as a knock sounded.